Morning, people. So, it's been a bit of a funny old week this week for me. Well, for all of us. The whole Conor Benn failed drugs test thing. It's left a pretty fucking bad taste in everyone's mouths about this wonderful sport that we love. And it's not perfect, and it never will be perfect. But several things have come to light as well. I mean, obviously the whole clomiphene thing, you know, Ben's been caught out with. I mean, that's bad enough, but now it looks like he's failed one earlier in the year, apparently. According to the Daily Mail, he failed another one earlier in the year that was all swept under the carpet. And the level of corruption, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all know boxing's got a very, very murky past. You know, it's a dirty old sport, you know. It's probably, historically, it's probably the dirtiest sport. Whether it's, you know, when the mafia were involved years ago, or, you know, dodgy, dirty promoters, you know, dirty tactics, drugs, you know, whatever, bad, you know, dodgy officials, fight fixing, whatever. It's not a nice sport. It never has been, you know, and it never will be. Unfortunately, there's always going to be that element to it. Boxing attracts that kind of thing. Anything that makes a lot of money is going to have a murky underside to it. So, but the level of corruption it's the year 2022, you know, and you can't help but you blame everybody. I mean, obviously Ben and his team for taking the stuff, because let's be honest, like I said before, that stuff does not end up in your system by accident. If you are a healthy male, you don't accidentally take female fertility drugs. You know, it's 100% unlikely that's going to accidentally end up in your system. Eddie Hearn knew about it, and the fact that he will not speak to the media highlights this. I mean, that shameful press conference he held last Friday when he officially postponed the fight, as he called it, he wouldn't take any questions. Yeah, he needs to hold his hands up and own up to this. You know, and the British Boxing Board of Control, I'm afraid, are involved in the cover-up, because it was only pulled once the story leaked to the Daily Mail. I was listening to Talk Sport. Must have been yesterday or the day before. All my days blur into one, I'm afraid. I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday, actually. And there was a car coming. Just to wait for the noise to stop. That's better. And I was listening to that, to Talk Sport, sorry. I just lost my train of thought then. And, you know, Chris Eubank Sr. was on there. And he basically said, it may sound dramatic to some ears, but I agree with what he said. They attempted to murder my son. You look back, you think about that. Okay, it sounds a bit over the top, you know, to some. But when you think about it, right, not only did they hook Junior into, you know, he had to lose loads of weight, drop down to a weight he's not been since he was 18 years old, so that's dangerous to start with. And he wasn't allowed to rehydrate beyond a certain thing on fight night. But then Conor Benn's on fucking steroids. You know, imagine if that fight had gone ahead on Saturday, and God forbid somebody got hurt or died, whatever, seriously hurt. who would be to blame? Obviously Conor Benn, he's the one taking the shit, but then Eddie Hearn, he's the one promoting it. He's the one who's been spinning the money on it. I mean, I've made criticisms of Eddie Hearn in the past, but overall I thought he was a pretty good guy. But he's a fucking hypocrite. He's no better than Don King, Bob Arum, any of them. They're all scumbags, they're all liars, they're all money makers. I'm a bit disappointed in Eddie, because I know he's a bit of a wide boy, loudmouth twat, but you have to be. That's part of boxing, part of promoting. So I kind of used to let that go. But, you know, when Miller tested positive before his fight with AJ in 2019, that never happened. He was full of it, old Hearn. You know, these guys need banning, blah, 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 blah. It's not right, it's not safe, rah, 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 rah. And then his boy Ben gets caught doing it, and he tries to sweep it under the carpet, and it's like, no mate. And like I say, I think there's collusion with the British Boxing Board of Control. It fucking stinks, the whole thing stinks. So going back to Eubank Senior, they tried to murder my son, and when you look at it, all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, yeah, I think they did, and it's fucking wrong. Boxing's dangerous enough as it is, without shit like this going on. So it's been a bit of an odd week for me, and for a lot of us. You know, I've actually been questioning myself, and it's not the first time. Why do I love this sport so much? Because it does nothing but break my fucking heart. Whether it's dodgy decisions, or drugs, or fights not happening, or, you know, I question it so many times. Why do I watch this sport? Because it does nothing but make me fucking angry and makes me feel sick. You know? I liken it to being in a toxic relationship with someone. You know you should get out because it's no good for you. You can't. So, forgetting about Conor Benn and all that shitstorm that's going on at the moment, I'm praying that this weekend all the fights are good and there's no nonsense, there's no drugs, there's no poor refereeing, there's no anything. You know, I hope it all goes well. In the Shields, Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall fight, the Baumgardner Maya fight, which I'm really looking forward to those two. Obviously the rematch between Haney and Kambosos, and of course Wilder's return against Helenius. I'm just hoping at least one of those fights reminds me of why I love this sport so much. Because I've been really struggling this week, really struggling. So, we fingers crossed for that one, for all these fights this weekend. This is the weekend to reel me back in and get me back feeling good about boxing. Because as you know, I love boxing. Boxing is my passion. And yeah, it's broken my heart the last week or so. Not for the first time, and it won't be the last time either. So, anyway, it's enough out of me. Got another last shitty day of work for the weekend. So, that's my weekend taken care of, is the boxing, and probably watching the ladies' Rugby World Cup as well. Something else to keep an eye on. But whatever you guys are doing at the weekend, I hope it's a good one. You take care of yourselves and enjoy the fights, and I'll speak to you next time. Take care, people.